If you are already familiar with big cities in Brazil such as Rio de Janeiro, São Paulo, and Salvador, maybe it's time for you to know more about the little-known surprises located just a bus drive away from them. My name is Ana, and on today's video we'll be traveling to Campos do Jordão, a small town near São Paulo which is locally famous for its mountainous weather, family-friendly attractions, and European-style architecture. Campos do Jordão is located about 3 hours away from São Paulo and 4 hours away from Rio, and can be easily reached either by bus or car if you're renting one. The nearest airport to it is Guarulhos, the international airport where most people arrive in, so it's just an easy ride 2-3 hours away from there. Campos do Jordão is inhabited by around 50,000 people, so it's relatively small and you can get to know all the main points of interest in about 2 days or so. Starting with the city's architecture, it is so heavily inspired by the Swiss-style constructions that Campos do Jordão started being called the Brazilian Switzerland. In order to escape the cold, the houses were built the same way the houses in that country are, making Campos do Jordão really look like it belonged in the Alpine country. Besides the architecture, Campos do Jordão is known for its chocolate, which adds even more to its locally famous nickname. You will find several chocolate stores and factories around the city, so if you have a sweet tooth, you must really try the chocolates out there. And lastly, the weather also contributes to the nickname, as the average temperature in the city is, in theory, around 16 degrees Celsius. And I say in theory because it's considered one of the highest in altitude cities in Brazil, but during summer it can be pretty warm, especially now with the global warming factor in play. We were there for Christmas, so it was right after summer started in most of Brazil. And even at night, you could see people dressing pretty casual with their clothes. It wasn't cold enough for heavy coats or anything of the sort, so you can be assured that during summer, you're gonna be okay with your usual clothes for Brazil. During the colder months of the year, the mountain weather affects the commerce and restaurants, as you will see plenty of products and cuisines that revolve around the cooler weather. During Christmas, the city gets all lit up with Christmas light and everything looks really beautiful. As a matter of fact, Christmas is kind of a big deal in the city, and they really go all in with the decoration and stuff, going for a winter wonderland type of vibe. It does really suit the city and it looks pretty cool. The city's downtown area is located around the Capivari neighborhood, and there you will find hotels to stay, store, malls, and restaurants. If you take a short walk from there, you will find the main square of the city, the Capivari Park. The park has a lot to do for both adults and kids. There are lots of big toys, decorations, and it's a nice open area where you can easily watch over your kids while they play. There's a zip line that will take you across a small lake, and an indoor park which has the electronic attractions such as pinball machines and other arcade-like games. There's also a small open theater at the center of the square. There was nothing happening at the time we were there, but they feature concerts, kids' plays, and other activities. Still at the same square, there was also an ice skate rink inside a large tent, and although we couldn't see very well, it looked pretty cool and people seemed to be enjoying themselves very much. And straight across from the ice skating rink is a cable car, which takes you all the way up the mountain to an amazing view of the whole city. As we were there during Christmas holidays, and this is one of the main attractions in the city, it was kind of packed when we got there, but the line moved pretty fast and we didn't have to wait that long. To go up the mountain, you can choose to ride the closed little car, which has glass panels so you can enjoy the view, or the open chairs so you feel more in touch with nature. We made the way in the closed car, and when we got down, we decided for the open chair so we could get the full experience. On the way down, you will be able to see Capivari Park, so you can get a full view of the whole square. When you get up there, there's a big lookout with places for you to sit and grab a snack or a beverage. The view up there is very nice and perfect for some pictures, especially when it's not too crowded. If you like a little adventure, there's also a short but thrilling sled ride that goes from the top of the mountain down the hill at about 8 kilometers per hour, which is like fast. At the end, the sleds take you up to the lookout again, so if you're interested, do it before you take the cable car down. The sled ride is paid separately, and it costs around $10. As for the cable car, it is open from 9 a.m. to 7 or 8 p.m. depending on the day, and it costs around $12 for each ticket, although the elderly and the small children between 6 and 12 years old pay half price. Right when we came down from the cable car, we were offered a tour bus ride around the main points of interest around the downtown area. So we just went for it and jumped on the bus. The fee was $8 for each ticket, and the whole ride took around an hour or so. Our first stop was at Ducha de Prata, a small waterfall site with lots of Instagrammable spots for you to take pictures in. It was pretty crowded, but there was plenty of space for everybody, and people are usually kind and considerate to wait while you're taking your pictures. The site itself is really pretty, and the waterfalls must be pretty relaxing when there's not so much people around. There was also a small area with large animal statues for you to take pictures with, which the kids were very much into. There are also a few pop-up shops outside of the waterfall site, as well as some vendors selling water, sodas, and snacks. The bus stopped there for about 15 minutes, and then we headed for some nature sightseeing, exploring a bit of the green around, as the tourist guide talked about the araucaria, which is the Brazilian pine tree. This tree represents the city of Campos do Jordão, and it's even featured on its flag. The araucaria, or Brazilian pine tree as I said, is very typical of colder areas, so you'll commonly spot them around town and down south in Brazil. The Brazilian pine's wood is very useful, and the pine cones are also pretty famous in the city and can be used in culinary and decoration. After that, we made our last stop before the ride was over at the small bodega that is specialized in wine, cheeses, and cachaças. You may have heard of cachaça, which is the main ingredient to make caipirinhas, our most famous alcoholic drink. The place was very crowded, and some people weren't very comfortable with me filming, so unfortunately there is no footage for that. By the end of all that, we were pretty beat, so we just had some dinner and went back to the hotel. The next day, we hired a private driver to take us around a few spots we wanted to go. They charged us 200 reais to spend the day with us and take us to a few of the places we had previously wanted to go but were a bit far away. The first of them was the Mosteiro São João, or St. Johns Monastery, which is indeed pretty beautiful. Everything looks really clean and taken care of, and some parts of it were recently renewed. We weren't able to visit the main area of the church, only a small chapel that looked pretty average on the inside. On the outside though, there's where the magic happens. There's a very big garden with different types of flowers, benches, and areas for you to hang out. It's a very pleasant place if you just want to sit down, enjoy the view, and breathe in some fresh air, especially if you're religious. But honestly, people of all creeds and even atheists would enjoy that. Before we left the church, we passed through the gift shop, where several of the items are made by the nuns who live there. Since it was getting close to lunchtime, we decided to head to one of the city's culinary staples, which is a 30cm long pastel, or 1-foot pastel, at a place called Pastelon Malu. If you don't know what it is, pastel is a Brazilian snack very common all around the country, especially at the street markets. They consist of a deep-fried dough with the filling of your choice. The difference is that Pastelon Malu is like the supersized version of the regular pastel, so honestly it almost feels like a full meal. They have tons of options of flavors, and each pastel has its own price, which is something in between $7 to $8. The restaurant also has a pretty nice balcony with chairs and tables in case you want to just sit up there and enjoy the view. You can see the city's entrance from there, which during Christmas is also decorated, and although they say it looks better at night, we didn't have the chance to go there in the evening. Now that our tummies were filled, we head to a Mantiqueira, which is a huge natural park where they research and take care of hundreds of types of plants. If we watched our video about Burle Marx Park in Rio de Janeiro, this one is really similar, with huge open areas and beautiful gardens for you to visit. The entrance to a Mantiqueira is $16 each, and you can stay there for as long as the park is open. They hand you a map at the beginning, and then it's up to you on how you want to explore the site. There are different types of garden based on the various countries' botanical life, and greenhouses with the most beautiful and colorful species of flowers. There's a lot to see here, so for you to comfortably walk through everything without a rush, I'd say you will spend around 1.5 to 2 hours in the park. There are a few lookouts from where you can get sweeping views of the whole area, and it looks really beautiful. There's also a small plant maze in which you can walk through, but don't worry, it's not big nor the bushes are full enough for you to actually get lost in it. There's even a treehouse that you can visit, which from afar doesn't really look like much, but when you go inside, this is actually a 2-story house with a bedroom, bathroom, living room and kitchen. One of the staff at the park told us that the park owner actually lived in the treehouse for about a month to experience how it is. It looks super cool and it's very cozy, but I can't help but think of all the bugs that must crawl inside and around everywhere. Speaking a little bit of food and entertainment now, in the center, Capivari as we spoke, you can also find the beer garden Baden-Baden, where they can also showcase how beer is made, and you can have German-style beer. You can also find several places selling fondue, which is the typical Swiss dish you can find everywhere, as well as the roasted potato, which is like kind of a grated potato side with fillings inside. That's also very common. Campos do Jordão is an attraction all year round, but during winter it gets even more crowded. It is the perfect place to go with family, as a couple, or just by yourself to enjoy nature. And if you enjoyed this video, take a look at this other one that YouTube thinks you're gonna like, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!